Developing this morning, police respond to an Albuquerque Walmart after reports of a shooting inside the store. Officers are now trying to piece together exactly what happened. News 13's Catherine Mazzone is at Coors and I-40 with the very latest on what she's learning today. Catherine?
Good morning, Adam. Now, police have cleared the scene and Walmart is back open, but this is a completely different story, a completely different scene from what we saw last night when police got the call about the shooting at around 9. This is what it looked like last night. Police surrounded the store and blocked all the entrances inside and out. Police say it happened around 9 o'clock. It's unclear as to whether the shooting happened outside or inside rather, or in the parking lot. Police did have a section of the parking lot blocked off with crime tape, but that has since been cleared. Police did not say whether they're still looking for the shooter, nor did they give us the victim's condition. We did, however, speak to people inside the store at the time.
We were checking out and we heard some people saying that it was scary and stuff, and we were really confused, and we just didn't know what was going on at first. And
they announced that everybody was to move to the front of the store and we weren't allowed to leave.
Now, they were eventually evacuated from the store not long after police arrived. And at this time, we do know that the Violent Crimes Unit was called out to this Walmart. Back to you.
Catherine, thank you. We're going to, of course, continue to follow this story. We'll bring you more information as it becomes available throughout the day. Police tell us this morning they will provide information as it comes in.
Meanwhile, this morning, deputies in Santa Fe are still investigating a brutal homicide there. Sheriff's deputies say 30-year-old Julianne Kelly's dad reported her missing early Friday morning. Deputies searched the home on Callejon de Rita near Agua Fria. They found her body behind the home. They say she had several cuts on her upper body and was beaten.
6:03, we checked this morning, and the woman accused of driving around with a child, meth, and needles over the weekend is now locked up in jail. According to a criminal complaint, Ramona Segura was speeding near Central in Wyoming when an officer pulled her over Saturday afternoon. Inside, a 5-year-old child, drugs, and a dozen stolen car keys. She's now facing child abuse, drug, and stolen vehicle charges.
The Albuquerque Fire Department is investigating a fire that burned through a house yesterday evening. It happened on San Lorenzo near 2nd Street in the Northwest around 6:45 as neighbors watched worried about their own homes.
Just saw a big old cloud of smoke just around the street, and about 4 or 5 minutes later, that's when all the fire trucks and everyone started arriving.
The house is vacant. Luckily, there were no injuries. No word yet on what sparked that blaze.
Former Rio Arriba County Sheriff Tommy Rodella wants the courts to delay his sentencing this week while he waits for a new trial. Rodella is scheduled to be sentenced on Wednesday. He was convicted of civil rights violations for his confrontation with a motorist during a traffic stop and faces 7 to 17 years in prison. Meanwhile, the U.S. Attorney's Office has asked a federal judge to hit the former sheriff with a $250,000 fine for allegedly hiding assets, including a home in Albuquerque.
As cities across the U.S. celebrate the life and legacy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., expect some closures for the federally observed holiday. And here they are. All schools, federal, state, county, and city offices are closed here in Albuquerque. ABQ Ride is running on its Saturday schedule, but if your trash typically gets picked up on a Monday, that won't change.
4 minutes past the hour. New this morning, a breakfast is being held in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It begins in just hours at 8 a.m. at the Marriott Pyramid North Hotel. There will be guest speakers to mark the federal holiday. Tickets are still available.
We're getting a better understanding this morning about what happened the day of a deadly hot air balloon crash last year. It was in May of 2014. The balloon carrying pilot Daniel Kirk and passengers Natalie Lewis and Jenny Doyle exploded after hitting power lines. All 3 died in that crash. The report says the pilot engaged the burner for about 15 seconds to try to avoid the power lines. The report does not exactly explain why the balloon still hit the power lines, but did highlight that it takes 6 to 15 seconds for a burner to be effective. A balloon can travel almost the length of a football field in about 10 seconds. There was a 5-mile area where investigators recovered cell phones, GPS devices, and wreckage pieces. Kirk had been flying since the early 80s. He flew during several Albuquerque balloon fiestas.
Police in California are searching for 3 men accused of setting a homeless man on fire. It happened Saturday night while the victim was sleeping. A Good Samaritan helped put that fire out. The victim, a 58-year-old man, suffered 2nd and 3rd degree burns. He is expected to be okay.
New and developing this morning as investigation continues into suspected terror cells in Europe. They're now expanding into several countries. Right now, heavily armed guards continue to monitor the streets of several cities in Germany and in Belgium. This after a deadly attack in France and reports of possible terror cells across Europe. Jewish communities say they fear they could be the targets of the next attack.
People feel it dangerous to walk on the street. People are afraid to come to synagogues, afraid to send their kids to Jewish school.
A Western intelligence source says as many as 20 sleeper cells could be ready to strike in Belgium, Germany, France, the Netherlands, and most recently now Greece. Several people have been detained in connection with the terror attacks in France as police continue to search for 2 more suspects.
As you wake up today, police in Delaware are investigating shots fired near the home of Vice President Joe Biden. That happened on Saturday night. The vice president and his wife were not home at the time. The Secret Service saw a car drive away very quickly, but it was outside their security perimeter. Multiple shootings were later reported in the same area. The Secret Service and FBI are participating in that investigation.
Talk about a cold, wet mess after icy roads in Philadelphia caused deadly pileups there. This is a look at how things looked earlier this week, and you can see the pileups involved several cars on multiple freeways around the city. Local news stations are reporting that at least 3 people died in the wrecks. Dozens of others were left injured. Very scary video.
All right, Kristen, we'll see the intense moments, meantime, for shoppers at a Northwest Albuquerque Walmart.
Yeah, police are still trying to figure out what happened when someone was found inside that store with a gunshot wound. News 13's Catherine Ozone is there at Coors and I-40 with the very latest. Good morning, Catherine.
Good morning, Crystal. Now, Walmart is open this morning and police have cleared the scene. But at around 9 o'clock last night, they rushed over here with reports of a shooting. Now, take a look at this video. This is what it looked like last night. Right now, it's unclear as to whether the shooting happened inside or in the parking lot. There was a section of parking lot taped off, but that's now gone this morning. Police did have an entrance blocked off as well while they were investigating, but they've since left. Now, they did not say whether they're still looking for the shooter, nor did they give us the condition of the victim. We did speak to some people inside who said getting out of the store was a concern.
I was freaking out because I watch a lot of TV about this kind of stuff, and I was worried I wasn't going to be able to get to my car.
Now, while inside, shoppers told us they were asked to go to the front of the store and they were then evacuated. Back to you.
All right, thanks for that information, Catherine. Now, we will continue to follow this story and bring you more information as it does become available.
Time is 6:33. A teacher's aide is facing rape charges this morning after New Mexico State Police say she had an inappropriate relationship with one of her students. Police arrested 34-year-old Victoria Baker at Belen High. She's a Belen High educational assistant on Friday. Valencia County jail officials say she's facing 6 charges of rape of a minor. As you can imagine, this has parents there upset. Here's what one parent had to say about the arrest.
I also have 2 teenage kids that go to high school. So that kind of worries me to know that this stuff is going on in our area.
Baker is also looking at a few other charges. She's also accused of giving the student booze. She's being held now on a $300,000 cash or surety bond.
An APD detective is improving after being shot by a lieutenant. It happened during a drug bust a little more than a week ago in the McDonald's parking lot. That's on Central near Tramway. Police say Detective Jacob Grant has now been taken off of a ventilator. He's still at UNM Hospital, though, following numerous surgeries. Another detective suffered a minor injury. They were both working undercover to take down 2 suspected meth dealers. A new campaign this morning is hoping to raise money for an APD officer who now faces murder charges. Dominic Perez is one of 2 cops charged in the shooting death of homeless camper James Boyd. This past week, an online fundraising page was set up to help pay for Perez's legal defense. It's looking to raise $100,000. So far, more than $4 grand has been raised. Among the contributors, retired APD Commander Daniel KRQE and former Deputy Chief Ed Sawyer. Both Perez and retired Officer Keith Sandy's cases are set to go before a judge who will determine whether there's probable cause for criminal charges to go forward.
One person is dead, another is in the hospital after a crash. Albuquerque police say a driver lost control of her vehicle near Eagle Ranch Road on Paseo del Norte.
I believe they hit a curb and maybe overcorrected and rolled the vehicle. Neither driver or passenger were wearing a seatbelt, and we do believe alcohol and drugs were a factor in this accident.
The woman died after being ejected from the vehicle. The passenger was also ejected, but he was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Police say his condition is stable now. A motorcycle rider is in critical condition after a crash on the west side. That happened at 7 Bar Loop in Old Coors. The rider is at UNM Hospital now. No word on what caused that crash.
And in California, 2 men are lucky to be alive after their stalled Nissan Maxima was hit by a bus on an LA freeway, causing a fire explosion. Take a look at this video. Investigators say 2 men were in that car when its electrical system failed. California Highway Patrol told them to stay in their car until help arrived, but a bus, unable to see them without their lights, plowed into the car, causing it to burst into flames. Luckily, the 2 got out of the car seconds before impact. The highway was closed for more than an hour as crews cleaned up that damage.
Wow.
Okay, check this out. A pickup truck sandwiched between 2 tractor trailers. In it, you can see 27-year-old Caleb Whitby trapped in the wreckage. There he is right there.
Wow.
Astonishingly, he survives, but his Chevy Silverado, not so much. It happened Saturday as his truck and a semi collided on an interstate in California, and then he was hit from behind by a second semi. Amazingly, he was able to walk away from all of this with just a bruise and a few scratches.
Police say that chain reaction crash was caused by black ice. You can say that again. Lucky to be alive.
Oh, wow. And that was a truck at one time.
Can you imagine that?
Sandwiched all the way in.
Wow.
Very scary. A reality star was killed in Burbank Saturday when he was hit by a metro train. Greg Blight was a fitness model, actor, and Army veteran. He was best known for his role on the Bravo series Workout. He also had a part in the new reality show Friends to Lovers. He was filming on the tracks when he was hit.
Officials say that Blight might have just lost his footing there when this happened, so it's an unfortunate accident, they believe. Wow. He's 37 years old. Wow. Protesters picket a Bill Cosby show. Over the weekend, more than 50 demonstrators gathered outside Denver's Buell Theater. It happened after a Denver woman claimed she too was sexually abused and drugged by Cosby back in the 1980s. The protesters were joined by famed women's rights attorney Gloria Allred.
Yeah, and she's actually one of the attorney for several of the alleged victims in the Cosby case. One protester showed up to Cosby's performance in Northern California yesterday as well. The cast and crew of the movie Selma took to the streets of the same town Sunday in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. The group, which included Oprah Winfrey, of course, marched to the bridge where the late civil rights leader marched. Winfrey thanked the crowd for being a symbol of hope and progress there.
The mayor of Selma says he was both proud and thankful for the visit. Quite a crowd that turned out there.
Oh, yeah, that's a really big crowd there.